All right, are y'all ready to get started? Nobody's paying attention to it. All right, this time I'd like to call this meeting to order, and it's good to have you. And please note that all board members are here. A student board member is not here yet. Is she gonna be here? Do you know? You don't know? Okay. If you would, join me for a moment of silence. Yes. Thank you very much. If you're able, would you please stand as you say the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You may be seated. All right, at this time, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Dr. Lamb made the motion to adopt the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Ms. Davis seconded. All in favor, let me know by lifting hand. All board members were in favor. The agenda is adopted. Item 2 is communications, and one of our favorite parts of the board meetings is recognitions. And first of all, we've got, you want to read these off to us?
Sure, let's go.
Hey, will you come too? Join us? Come on.
First recognition tonight is the Garrard County Schools Danville Office Equipment Staff Member of the Month. And our Staff Member of the Month this month is Debbie Rodas from Lancaster Elementary School. Unfortunately, she's not here, so I think Ms. Middleton is going to come up and accept. I'm going to go ahead and read this anyway, because we want you to hear about her. We're excited to recognize Debbie Rodas, the Attendance Secretary at Lancaster Elementary, as the District Staff Member of the Month. Debbie knows every detail, every timeline, every attendance requirement, and she handles it all with accuracy and confidence. She keeps our records accurate, communicates quickly with families, and makes sure our staff have exactly what they need so students are supported and accounted for every day. On top of that, she's the person other schools turn to for help. She trains new attendance clerks across the district, answers questions, and shares her knowledge freely. She brings a level of expertise and dependability like everyone has come to depend on. Debbie's approachable, always laughing, and always willing to step in wherever she's needed. Her work makes LES run smoothly and an enjoyable place to be. So congratulations to Debbie. Our next recognition tonight is the Garrard County Schools Whitaker Bank Teacher of the Month. And our Teacher of the Month this month is Diana Pointer from Garrard Middle School. She's a math and science teacher. This year, Ms. Pointer stepped into a new role, teaching not only 8th grade, but also taking on both math and science for our students. She's embraced this transition with natural ability, flexibility, and a true talent for delivering high-quality instruction every day. Ms. Pointer has worked diligently to implement effective co-teaching strategies within our co-teaching classrooms, collaborating seamlessly with her fellow teachers to provide students with meaningful support. Whether she's teaching math or science, she creates an active and engaging learning environment where all students can be successful. We're incredibly blessed to have Ms. Pointer as part of our GMS team. Her dedication, positivity, and passion for teaching shine through in everything she does. and we love getting to see her practice her craft each day. Congratulations, Ms. Pointer. Thank you for all you do. Next is our Garrard County Schools Farmers National Bank Students of the Month. And our first student from CDR is Anna Sin. Anna's a second grader, and she exhibits every pause expectation daily in all of her classes. Anna is always prepared, remembering to bring all of her supplies and her book bin when we switch classes. She's ready to learn and is a wonderful listener. Anna has an awesome attitude. She's positive and kind to everyone she meets. She goes out of her way to help other students. All of her teachers agree that Anna works very hard in school and puts effort in with every task and assignment. She isn't afraid to put the work in and try, even when she isn't confident in her abilities. Finally, Anna is a very respectful person, listening to others' ideas and always trying to do the right thing. Congratulations, Anna. Next from Lancaster Elementary is Ava Preston. Ava's a second grade student also, and is a wonderful second grade student who always puts her best effort into everything she does. She's a hard worker who takes pride in her schoolwork and never gives up when faced with a challenge. Ava is kind and polite to everyone, always showing respect and care for her classmates and teachers. Her artistic talent shines through in her creative projects and beautiful artwork, adding a special touch to the classroom. Ava's a joy to have in the classroom, and congratulations, Ava, on being Student of the Month. Next from Paint Lick is Renessa May Cole. And I don't think she's here, so we'll make sure she gets her recognition. From GMS, Julie Van Hook. Julie's a seventh grade student at GMS, and we're excited to recognize her as the November Student of the Month. She has shown awesome perseverance and shows respect to classmates and teachers, is always involved in class. And her dedication to doing her best really stands out and shows true excellence every day. We're so excited that she's a member of GMS, and congratulations, Julie, on being the Student of the Month. Next, from Garrard County High School, Peyton Worthington. Peyton's a senior at the high school and is a true example of a golden lion. She's worked hard on the soccer field and in the classroom. She'll have over 24 hours of dual credit. She will be dual PSR in early childhood development and culinary. She's been involved in our teacher pathway and has been placed at Paint Lake Elementary. Peyton has the heart of a teacher and thrives on seeing others succeed. She sets a great example of integrity, no excuses, and self-control. Thank you, Peyton, for creating a culture of hard work and determination. Congratulations. Tonight we have an additional recognition that's not a normal one for us. I'm going to introduce our band director at the high school, Jordan Humphreys, to come and make a presentation. And we're going to ask anybody who is a band parent if you'll make your way over here so we can recognize you tonight.
All right, head that way. All right, good evening, everybody. Like you said, my name is Jordan Humphreys, and I have the privilege of being the high school band director here for Garrard County Schools. And I think this goes without saying, Garrard County is a very special place. And something that makes it so special is these outstanding parents. Mr. Vance told me that I was being blessed whenever I came in by these people and the way their work ethic is for not only their student, but all of the students. And that was very easy to see going into this year. I taught the students a lot of brand new things this year, along with the rest of the band staff. We did the same thing to the parents. Whenever we said that a marching band contest was going to happen, and we know that's something that we wanted to have happen for several years, and they went above and beyond to make that possible. It takes a lot to make a marching band contest happen. There are very many logistical things that have to go down, just for figuring out how the campus layout needs to work, how programs are going to get into the school, how we're going to make the field function, where the water stations are. There is so many different things that go along with it that can have several issues. But from everybody that attended our contest, they felt like this was a contest that had been running for 10 years. There were several directors that gave feedback that said, number one, the parents are outstanding, the volunteers are outstanding. We want to come back next year. Your facilities are fantastic. There was a million different comments about this place. And not only for a first year having a contest, did they do a fantastic job with it. They got 16 bands that come into the contest. That's unheard of. That's one of the top 5 enrollments for a KDA contest this year. So I can't thank these people enough, not only for the contest, but for everything that they do for the students, the staff in this program. So if you all join me, we'll just give a round of applause.
And I will tell you, as a person who's not a band person, who went out there that night, it was a phenomenal thing to see. It didn't matter where you were. There was a band parent somewhere close, ready to do whatever had to be done. It was an impressive competition. If you've never been to one, you should come next year, because if you come to this one, you'll see the best one that's going to be hosted by this group. And it was just phenomenal. And we're glad that Mr. Humphreys has joined us after all those years with Mr. Vance. And so we're happy to have him here, and that these two groups work so well together. So again, if you would recognize these folks, because they did an incredible amount. Not yet. It's coming.
Oh, yeah. I didn't recognize you, but I recognize you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Great. All right, item B is site-based decision-making minutes. And for me, school, I hope my fellow board members have had an opportunity to look those over. Item C is audience comments. I don't believe we have any. Item D is board members. Any board members, anything you'd like to share? And item E is superintendents. And give us some updates.
So tonight, we're going to share quite a bit of information and a variety of different opportunities. The first one is one that you're accustomed to getting each month. The bonding capacity for the district dropped by $60,000. So kind of I know it's bad to say 60,000 is insignificant, but in comparison to that, that's where we currently are. Baird Financial will continue to keep you updated on that. We'll update you on a monthly basis on where we are with that as we're moving forward. Our second thing to talk about tonight is the results from our Kentucky State Assessment. So I'm going to ask Holly Young if she will come up. She's going to share some information with you. You had some packets that we've already shared with you. And we'll share a little bit more right now. And we'll flip back and forth if we need to, but I think we'll be able to move on without any trouble. So, Michelle.
Okay. I only have about 300 slides that I could have done, but my friends put me on a time limit. I'm excited to present tonight. We have lots of things to celebrate. And there are so many more points of data that I could share, but for the sake of time and for everyone's brains, tonight I won't. But at any point, if you have questions or you want to meet, I would love to sit down with you and look through the data so we can talk about that. One thing we're going to talk about is KSA, which are grades 3 through 12. However, this is not a 3 through 12, it's a K through 12, because our primary students are learning and working just as hard every day, and our teachers as well. So this really is a P12 initiative. So in 2022, when I came to present for the first time for you, we had 4 yellow, 1 orange school on the scale, and 2 of the schools were TSI, which is targeted support and improvement. So being new to Garrard County, just had to kind of figure out why, because I'd been in the classrooms and saw a lot of talented teachers who love kids and were working hard every day, and saw a lot of teachers or students who are working hard every day and great kids. So we just needed to figure out what's the missing piece. 3 years later, I'm going to share with you 2 blue schools, 2 green schools, and a high-end yellow, very close to a green school, and no TSI, so no targeted support. So yes, very, very exciting. So even though we have a lot to celebrate, we have identified focus. This is November, and we're just now being able to share the data. We were able to see student data in August that we couldn't share, but just share with staff. So we've been looking at this, and we have identified the areas of growth, and we've been working on that. And I think this time next year, we'll have even more to celebrate. So tonight is just a sample. So overall, this is what you will see if you look at the school report card that the Department of Education publishes. So our overall elementary rating is blue, which is the highest, the very high. Middle school yellow, and again, we're on when we first started, we were at the very wrong end of yellow, and now we're moving towards the green side of yellow. And then our high school is green, higher performing. So looking at rankings, because I think that makes sense for a lot of people. So out of 172 districts in the state of Kentucky, our overall elementary ranking is 13. So moving up every year. And we are second in our CKEC region, so our educational cooperative region. We are number 2. Middle school, we are 92nd out of 172 and 14th in CKEC. Our high school, 74th in Kentucky, 12th in CKEC, and our district is 39th. So lots of improvement there, top 23%. So we're going for, top 10 and then number 1. Looking at each individual school, the indicators will be reading and math, science, social studies, and writing are combined, and then the climate and safety survey, post-secondary readiness, so that's measuring our college and career readiness, and then our graduation rate. So you can see out of the indicators, they have 1 yellow, and that is our reading and math. So that is an area that we're focusing on. We also saw that looking at other pieces of data. So looking at our ACT, they do informal benchmarks with the students. So they're seeing that, but again, we've got a plan for how we're working on that. So it's looking at curriculum, we're looking at instruction, we're looking at how we assess students every day so that we can target those areas. Something to be very proud of is their growth in the science, social studies, and writing, which is the very high blue area. They have, I think it was a 23% increase in proficiency in science. So you can tell that was something that, they really targeted this year. Looking at GMS, so our overall indicator is yellow, but if you look at something that's a little deceiving is looking at, they have 2 green indicators and 1 yellow. So science, social studies, and writing, also a strength in the green, and then their climate, school climate and safety survey increased like over 20 points in a year. So that is huge. It just shows that the kids are enjoying being there, and they feel loved and they feel safe, and ready to learn. So again, a focus on reading and math. So that has been identified. They have done a ton of work over the summer and through the school year on looking at their curriculum. What are we teaching every day? Are we making sure it's aligned to the standards? How are they assessing it every day? And so we've really done some quality control in their assessments, just looking at the way we're asking questions to kids. And so that's a big focus area. Paint Lick Elementary, green, high, and you can see their indicators, the green throughout in every content area. You will not see, I want to explain this, you will not see science data listed for them. It is considered suppressed data. And so suppressed data means that there are not enough students who scored at a particular level, so they can't report it because they feel like then it's not anonymous. It can be for great things. So the example they gave to us in our DAC training was you could have 100% distinguished and then your scores are suppressed because then they know what everybody scored. So you could have 0% novice and it not be shared publicly, even though it's a great thing, they won't allow it. So when we get the data, it's in red print that says you cannot share this. So we can't share what the data is, but want you to know we're not hiding anything from you. We just can't share that. But I will tell you, they would not have a green rating in science, socialism, writing if it wasn't good. So again, looking there, they are decreasing novice, single digits novice, and you'll have that you can look at there for the levels. So great things going on. LES hit blue this year, lots to celebrate. I'm sure you saw some of their celebrations and their pictures on social media. It was a lot of fun to watch. Huge growth. And so they have really started closing the gaps between your novice and proficiency. So lowering novice, getting kids closer and closer to grade level, which is our goal. Very intentional teaching, really looking at their curriculum and what they're teaching and increasing student engagement. So we have so much to celebrate, and LES is just killing it. I'm very happy for them. CDR, also blue, so they were hit blue last year. Continue to have blue in every indicator, very high. So again, closing the gap, very low novice, single digits in a lot of areas, and then increasing that grade level, that proficiency. One thing to celebrate, and I went to a regional meeting today and somebody said, we need to know what you're doing in writing. Man, 80% proficient distinguished? Yes, they did. So I do expect lots of school visits and lots of phone calls, which is great. It's nice to be on this end of that. So some highlights that you can see there. Take my glasses off. Increasing the number of students who are on grade level. That's what we want to do. We want our kids to leave each grade level being on grade level. Looking at the state averages, our elementary reading proficiency, we are 10% above the state average and 17% above the state average in math. So awesome scores there. Looking at high school science, they are 6% above the state average. The middle school was 2% above the middle school social studies proficiency. And then overall in writing, we're above the state average at each level, 2% at the high school, 4% at the middle school, and 12% at the elementary school. Increasing the number of students who demonstrate they're ready for what comes after high school. So the PSR was at like 111.9 maybe. So it just shows that we are preparing our students for whatever they're going to do next. So that's measured in various ways. It could be academics with grades. It could be industry certifications. So it could be benchmarks on ACT. Now we're getting ready to have the SAT. But it just shows that kids are ready. They're ready for working. They're ready for military. They're ready for workforce, career training, etc. And then overall, looking at the rankings, there were 14 blue elementary districts in the state. So again, out of 172, there were only 14, and Garrard County is one of them. systems at work here. Before I talk about the first one, the components in an ideal lesson, we just really want to let the community know, wasn't really a surprise. Like, we track student data and student growth throughout the year. So we have administrators in classrooms daily, and they're all looking for the same thing. They're looking for this components in an ideal lesson that we'll talk about, and providing feedback, coaching feedback to our teachers. We're listening to the kids. I had a kid the other day said, "I want to know why you're here. You like to watch the teachers teach." And I was like, "Actually, I'm watching you learn," because that's what we're doing. We want to see what our kids are doing in the classroom every day. We use iReady as our universal screener and benchmark. And so that gives us like full diagnostic information on each kid. Where are they in reading and in math? Where are their strengths? Where are their weaknesses? And then we can design our instruction around that. We use daily formative assessments. We typically call them exit slips. So after every lesson that we teach, we give a quick assessment to the students. And then that demonstrates mastery for that day. So for the teacher, you can say, okay, this kid got it, this kid didn't. I need to do some quick intervention before we move on to the next lesson. So we're doing that daily. We have district common unit assessments. So within the elementaries, all 3 schools give the same assessments at the same time in reading, math, science, and social studies. Middle school, it doesn't matter what team you're on. High school, it doesn't matter which teacher you have. You're taking the same assessment as a student. And those are all aligned towards our academic standards. So those just gives us pieces of data throughout the year. So days like this are not a surprise. We have student conferences, informal conferences with kids. And then as teachers and administrators, we have data PLCs to where we're looking at each of these pieces of data to talk about what areas are we doing well, what areas are we not, which students are showing mastery, which students are not, so we can truly differentiate their instruction. Okay, the components of an ideal lesson. Can you click that? Maybe not. Okay. So our components of an ideal lesson, it's brain research, talks about really focusing on how students learn and retention. So our memory, so putting things from our immediate memory to working memory to long-term memory. So you will see this if you go into a kindergarten classroom. You will see it if you go into an AP classroom. Teachers following this component of an ideal lesson. Our walkthrough form that we use when we go into classrooms follow this as well, so we can give feedback in each area. But it just comes in, start with a flashback. You give kids a spiral review because like we're normal and we might forget something from 3 units ago. But if we're seeing it constantly spiraled, hopefully it turns into our long-term memory and we can retain that. So we start with a flashback, then we give the kids a learning target. We go over it. So our goal for the day, this is what our goal of learning is for the day. Build some curiosity through a hook, provide some chunks of new teaching for new content, checks for understanding, having the kids practice, and teacher check-in for understanding for that. Then we'll go back and revisit with the learning target again, just to make sure that they, I was in kindergarten one day and they went through the learning target. Did you do this? Yes. Well, tell me how we did it. So the kids can articulate, this is what I just learned. And you've got 5-year-olds doing that, which is amazing. And then we would give them the exit slip. So then the teacher has individual accountability for every kid, so we can see how they're doing. Okay. And my last slide.
I'll get you there,
Okay.
I promise. It's kind of fun to be done.
Okay, so these are our commitments. So what have we committed to as a district to continue improving our academics and our education for all of our students? And that is a growth culture. So students, teachers, administrators, our leaders, we want to continue growing. We're not satisfied. We're very happy with where we are, but we're not finished. Okay, we don't have in an admin meeting today, we said until 100% of our kids are right there demonstrating proficiency, we keep going. Looking at standards-driven instruction and assessment, so everything is aligned to our standards. And then data-driven decision-making. So every decision we make for our kids, we have data to support that, not just something we think or we think's a great idea or we think will help. We have the data that supports what we need to do.
Questions?
I don't have a question. I didn't say anything on board comments because I wanted to take this presentation, but so proud of your leadership, principals, teachers, students, before performing. And always that tense moment of knowing what the results are. Just very proud of every person involved in getting to where we are and that we're showing improvement. It's tough.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you to everybody. Very proud. I mean, going to 14 in the state with the elementaries, that's been fabulous. So I didn't know that statistic, so just very proud.
So I had a couple of things in your packet that you got on Friday, or that you got if you weren't able to attend on Friday. One of the things that we really want you to look at too, in addition to the colors and things like that, is the trend lines. We want you to look at where novice was and where novice is, and where proficiency was and where proficiency is. And what you're going to see is the proficiency increasing, the novice decreasing. And that's our responsibility to our community, is to provide that for our students. Some of you may remember at one of our community forums, somebody raised a question about, what are y'all doing to make things better academically? I think you've heard the presentation tonight that would tell you what's happening in that way. And I would stack what we're doing up against anybody because it's sustainable. It is not a quick fix that is try to make everything perfect right now. It is to work through that process. And if you all recall, last year we came to you and said, can we have an extra week with brand new teachers? And one of the reasons we wanted that extra week was to put this kind of thing in place so that people who were joining our staff could get up to speed with the rest of our staff. Having said that about new staff, though, I also want to compliment our veteran staff, because sometimes the difficult change in something like this is for veterans who may think they've already got it figured out. And so we have had a staff that's been willing to step up and do this. And one of the things that's really important is the more you see this being successful, the easier it is to be on board with it. So any place that you think we're seeing a gap still, that's going to be closing because people are seeing the positive results that are occurring. And you were correct when you listed all of those people to be thankful for, starting with the work that Holly and her team does, what all of our principals do, what our teacher leaders do, what our teachers do. But ultimately it comes down to what students do, right? You can do anything that you want. You can present anything, but teaching doesn't happen until there's learning that occurs. And so when Holly said earlier to the student, I'm here to watch you learn, not teachers teach, that's where it's really at. So I want to thank the board too for your willingness to do some things, like I said a second ago. Let us have an extra week with those teachers and financially make that possible so that we can do that kind of reaching out. So it's an entire group of people working to make that happen. So thank you for sharing tonight.
Do you need this back?
Thank you. Just leave it there.
Thank you so much.
I think we have somebody else. So connected to that, if you think about what you just heard, well, how do other people know about that, right? You all heard about it today, but how do other people hear about that? So I asked Sydney Ray, to share some information with you tonight about the work that goes on in our virtual reach. When we're reaching out and sharing information, you have some reports there. She's going to walk you through, and we're going to let her talk about all of the things that are happening and that are happening well. So let me pull up, and you just tell me what you want when you want it.
That's fine.
Is that okay? You want a
That was
different
good. Maybe the other one. Yeah, we'll start with that one first.
one? Which of the others? The social media platform?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the shorter one, just the one
Okay.
picture.
Yep, there we go.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, like Dr. Stoll said, I'm just gonna talk to you guys about our virtual reach, which is a little bit exciting. Holly mentioned having a growth mindset, and that's exactly what I feel like, all of us center around. And so I wanted to take the growth from around 2021 to now, when we created the idea of public relations. And so I think you've seen the 2 packets previous to this on our Instagram and Facebook, which are our main source of social media platform. And this is solely just social media. We have website analytics to look at too, and hopefully in the next year we can pull analytics from our digital signs and our athletic boards and things like that. But this is just from Facebook and Instagram and what that virtual reach looks like. And in those packets, you had a lot of graphs to show you the growth in followers, the growth in content, and the growth in interactions. So this one pager that you get tonight is just taking those packets and condensing them to one page. So you have some key terms that are going to be replaceable there for both Facebook and Instagram, and that's our views, our followers, our profile visits, and content interactions. So the content is what we're putting out. Our views are just views from anyone. And so you're going to hear me talk about reach, and you're going to hear me talk about views. Views are multiple. So if I look at one of our posts 10 million times to check to make sure I spelled everything right, that counts as all of those views. The reach is the unique user. And so those numbers they look, smaller than the views, but it's still impressive to see a reach of 20,000, when we're a district with 2,500 kids. And so you'll see our followers are up to around 7,000, and we started in the 4s. So that is a good growth. And it's not that we're losing followers each month or each year as we get new students and students graduate. We have, people on our pages that graduated many, many years ago, but are still interested in what Garrard County schools are doing. And Instagram started in 2021 for Garrard County schools. And so that number is going to look a lot smaller than our Facebook number. But also our audience there is a little bit different than our Facebook audience. And so that one is growing. We have more plans to make it a little bit bigger, but it's doing really well. So you have the Facebook profile visits, and you can see that is the only one that doesn't have a little green beside it, and that is because it's down. And I don't think that's a negative. I think that is a positive, and looking at the numbers, people don't have to visit our page as much because our content is showing up in their feed. And so that means they're interacting with our content more. And so the algorithm is bringing that content to them, and they're not having to go to it. So I'm okay with that number being in the red because that means they're just seeing it on the regular anyways. Our Facebook views are up, and you can see that number there. This data is pulled from July 1, so our school year, the last 5 months, and you can see that we've had 1.1 million views on content. So that's all of our content across that we've posted and the amount of views that we've had on that. That's Facebook. Our numbers are much bigger there because that's our bigger platform. Instagram is doing the same though. We have posts going out, and now from when we started in 2021, the reach of our Instagram posts are in the thousands, and they started in the hundreds. And so it's really cool to see the growth over the years. And it's also good to see who's looking at it. Like I mentioned earlier, we have more of a student base on Instagram than we do on Facebook, just because that's the younger generation is on Instagram more so than they're on Facebook. And so this is one of the goals this year. The next steps is to focus what we're putting out, where we're putting it out, because it should be different. If our audience is different on Instagram, then our content should be different from what we're putting out on Facebook. And so that's just kind of a snapshot of that very long report that we put together for Facebook and Instagram. The highlights are that the follower numbers are up on both, which means more people are looking for our content. The engagement is up, which means more people are liking, sharing, saving what we're putting out. And one thing you'll notice in the longer packet that you got last week is that our number of posts have actually drastically decreased since 2021. And our numbers are still way, way farther than they used to be. And that's because I feel like we've really tried to focus in on what we're publishing and what we're posting, and going away from an idea of announcements and more so like storytelling of what our students are doing, what our students are learning, what is Garrett County Schools really about. And that's what people love to see, that's what people love to interact with, and that's what we want out there. So the number of posts are down, but our engagement is up, and that's the goal. So those are those two. I included one more, and that is this sheet. So we can switch to that second one. And this is just from this school year. And that I pulled, we send one of these out to our families and our staff each month. And this is just a social media update. And honestly, it's to encourage people who aren't on social media to see this and be like, oh, I want to check it out. And then they go follow. But that is our top 6 stories just from July 1. And I put the view counts on the bottom of each of those so that you guys can see the impact that we can have on social media with our content. We've got 49,000, 34,000, and this is becoming the norm. So we're putting out content that is getting this type of views normally. And that's what I told Dr. Stahl last month, that if a post has less than 10,000 views, I think it didn't do well, and that we need to try again. And so that's becoming the norm. And we're really trying to figure out what is, with views like that, what is best to put out, how do we want to tell our story, and where are we going to tell that at? And so that's the focus this year, is that our numbers, yes, they're up, and yes, they look great, but now we're going to kind of focus in, we have even more platforms now with our digital signs and our athletic boards, all new platforms to have content on. And so it's really going to be a plan of how that content is not repetitive, but it complements one another. And so we're telling our whole story just in different places. So that's all I've got for you.
Good job, Sydney. Thank you.
Thank you.
I might say something to me that's obvious, and what's obvious to me may not be obvious to you. But I see so much enthusiasm. I see the enthusiasm for the band performances. I see the enthusiasm with just the way the facilities look. I see the enthusiasm in the presentations. I see the enthusiasm in the acceptance of what is happening within the schools. And, it's maybe bad to say, but, we're the Lions and we've got a great deal of pride. And so I think that's significant in Garrett County at this particular point. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, sir.
The next presentation is from the high school, and it's going to be an update on the JROTC program.
Now, we just wanted to come, for 2 things tonight. One, to celebrate what this guy's done and tell the story. As I told him the other day, as a chief, as a principal, you learn something new every single day. And I told him I dropped the ball on sharing our story. I don't remember how many years ago, I think it was 5, you guys gave us this JROTC position. So I wanted to thank you all for allowing us to have the things that we need, removing obstacles so that we can help our students become better. And with this JROTC program, when we first started, Chief came on, and his personality with kids is amazing. Like, I didn't have an instructor up to this point with the kind of personality that he has. And he went to a meeting, and the guy over JROTC told him that Garrett County will never be federal. Told him at the meeting, he said, you all will never be federal. You'll never become a JROTC program. Well, if you know Chief Condon, that kind of fired him up, and he's gone above and beyond. You can flip through this, Liz, as we talk, just so you guys can kind of see. We got some things for you, but that's back when you looked really good there. That's a couple years ago. But there's a check sheet of things that he can do with our kids. And before we became federal, he's driving to different schools. He's really good at scavenging, getting uniforms and boots and rifles and like all the things, because we're not federally funded, there's things we couldn't get, but he had connections. He made all that happen for us. And then he started doing things in the school that had never been done. Like they worked every football game. They helped hard. Even this last football game with the mom, I've never seen kids happy about being soaking wet, standing in the rain, and out parking cars. They're at every prom. They're at every big event. They work 12. He had kids work 12 hours at the band competition parking cars. And the cool thing is that they're doing it. So these are his, and Chief can share about this, but they have it, it's structured just like, go back to that one, the model real quick. So there's the model, and the kids say this every day. And what we've learned, and that Chief is really good at selling, is this. It's not about going into the military. It's about becoming better citizens. And it's amazing to watch these young men and women, or young boys and girls become young men and women, and he hands them like, hey, we got a band competition. You all have to figure out how to park these things. Gives them the aerials. They have to go through football games, like everything that they do, the kids do it. And it's exciting to watch the process of where we were, 34 kids, and now we're up over 100. And because of all of the hours that he put in after school with all these events, Saturdays, parades, the help with the art festival, like our kids are we've had our first 8th grade flag, what's it, 8th grade,
So now we include 8th graders into our program, so they can enter as a Let 1 at 8th grade level. So we've included them, and that class is, we started out with about 28, we're down to 25 right now, but they're super fun to work with.
I always tell them, so if you're a teacher, I said, hey, Chief, good news is I got 28 8th graders coming. The bad news is they're coming the last period of the day. And he was like, bring them, just bring them. So it's been a really good, it's been a tough process as he's navigated for us to get us to this federal. The numbers that he sent on all the check marks to get this where we could be federal, then the guy couldn't deny it. Like he said, you all are going federal. We went from not getting it for a year. We heard, hey, when another school goes out, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, in August, you guys are becoming a federal JROTC program. So I just wanted Ms. Turner to kind of share from the academic side what he's done for us.
So I'm a notes gal. These guys talk their things, but I'll have my notes for me. So when I first learned that we were getting a JROTC program, I was super excited. I was a military wife in a former life, and so I knew what that type of program could do for a school. And so I was super excited about what I knew it could do for our academics and our culture, and Chief Condon has not let us down. We currently have about 100 students enrolled in JROTC. And considering our total enrollment is only like 770, that's pretty impressive. That's a huge chunk of our student body that's involved in the program. And as they were alluding to, we're now including 8th graders as well. So that includes about 20 8th grade students that are coming over 6th period every day and hanging out with them and learning all of these values and things that he's instilling in our students. Not only that, but he's building relationships with these students that are impacting their performance across the board. So we're seeing improvements academically, we're seeing improvements in culture. So he's not only teaching them how to be young men and women once they leave, he's also teaching them how to behave within our school culture, which is a pretty neat thing. We've used him for proctoring. We thought, hey, he's built relationships with these kids. Let's let him test the students and see how it works. And we saw students' proficiency rise based on that, and we truly think we can attribute that to the relationships that he built with those students. They're leaders in the classroom. These students have become integral to our culture. They've been involved in multiple community events, as Mr. Anderson said. They've helped out at football games, at our band competition that we had. Most recently, we had a trunk or treat, and they were super involved in that as well. So they're involved across the board. And then we talked a lot about academic achievement tonight. And one of the main reasons that we are a green school is because of our post-secondary readiness. The JROTC program gave us yet another avenue to allow students to be post-secondary ready. And so after 3 years of involvement with this program, they are post-secondary ready. And we're really excited that we've had 40 students that have achieved that post-secondary readiness through the JROTC program. So as you can see, academically, culturally, he has truly, and the program has truly impacted our school.
And Coach Centers deals with behavior, so before he speaks, I had a kid in his class misbehaving. So I said, come on, we're gonna go see Chief. So I take the kid to Chief, I said, Chief, he said, I got it. The next day, the young man came up to me and says, Mr. Anderson, please suspend me next time. Don't leave me to Chief. Coach Centers gonna talk about from the behavior. So,
Well, you know, this presentation is about highlighting JROTC, but you can't highlight JROTC without highlighting Chief Condon. Chief Condon as the leader of that program and the person who has been the driving force behind taking that program to not only a new level, but like Mr. Anderson said, a level that we were pretty well told this ain't happening. And to get to that level, and it is a compliment not only to him, but the kids that are involved in JROTC. Chief Condon's the guy who makes things better. He makes things better with everything that he touches. You know, there are things, as we were finishing up the project out there, talking about, you know, the beginning, the stages of plans about traffic coming in and out of games and the various things where we're set up. You know, even just simple suggestions on the gates and how things should be and how things would flow better. I mean, I'm sure some of it's his training, but I also think he's just gifted at being able to be in that schematic way of thinking and making things better. One of the biggest events that we've had with the new facilities, and probably one of the biggest events in Garrard County in a long, long time, was graduation last year. And I guarantee we don't get those people in and out without him, let alone have the success that it did. But, you know, like I said, from a discipline standpoint, you've got a lot of kids that, whether it's sports teams or whether it's other things, that are looking for a place to belong. And we've got over 100 kids that have found a place to belong with him, and he makes that value and brings that to them, allows them to have that place to belong. And quite frankly, a lot of the times, some kids that benefit from JROTC have had a hard time finding a place to belong, and they find that place. You see kids walking through the halls that have said, well, I ain't wearing that uniform to school. Next thing you know, here they come wearing that uniform, and they're wearing it with pride. You know, all of those things going in together. You know, we just, and the story that Michael told is just one example of many examples of students, once they find that place to belong, once they have that leader, of becoming better, behaving better, performing better academically in the classroom, and just walking down the halls. And it's really, really added a lot to the school.
So guys, we want to thank you all, because 5 years ago, you all said, hey, Garrard County High School, you're getting this program. And with your vision and foresight, we were able to land this guy that's changed the whole culture of the high school. So thank you all. And then we wanted to also thank Chief for, like I said, as a principal, you don't tell the story about this, like, talk about getting a guy mad, trying to get something done with this program. But he figured out ways to get it done for us. So thank you all, Chief Condon. We just want to say thank you for what you've done.
So we're a little out of sequence, so I'm sorry to interrupt, but you know, normally we present stuff at the beginning. We've held this one tonight, so if you all don't care to go back and make the presentation to Chief Condon, so we can get pictures of that, we'd appreciate it. Both of them, yep. My bad. We're supposed to be back. Put in the.
Thanks. I know this is about JROTC, but Coach, it's good to have you back in that.
Before you leave, meet you, Condon, I just wanted to say that since I've been around for quite a while, this, having an ROTC has been a dream for many years in Garrett County. And when we were finally able to get it going and having to be headed it up, we were just very pleased. I'm very proud that it's now part of the high school and seeing the young people in their uniforms. Someone made a comment just the other day, a retired teacher, that didn't know that we had an ROTC. So tonight, having this presentation and hoping that the people who are viewing it will now see this, and then the community will have a better understanding of what you're doing within our schools and for our students. So we thank you for that. And for the high school administrators.
Thank you all.
So I'm pretty sure this will be a part of the virtual reach as we're moving forward. So a couple of things just to tie it up. You heard the conversation about the blurring of lines between schools and how important that is. You know, we have students who are coming from the middle school, going to the high school and participating, not only in JROTC, but in other things. And so the entire process of what we've been sharing with you tonight is all connected, from the assessments to the reach to culture impact by this. So the next thing we're going to talk about, and we're not going to talk about it other than me telling you that you have it in your packet, needs assessment has been shared. I have to share this with you by December 1. We'll talk more about this in December so we don't take a lot of your time. I am going to cycle back to something just to make sure you understand it. I let it slip by, but it's connected to the presentation if anybody wants to go back and get it. When we were talking about state assessment, I meant to make a comment that we've attached the district attendance trends for the past 3 years as well. And the attendance of students is critical to the success of students. So you have a packet of information there. The people in the public who would like to see that, please feel free to go in and check. But the trends are positive. They're moving forward. We're better than the state. And what's more important to us than being better than the state is that we're better than ourselves each year. And that's what's most important. So we appreciate the work that Mr. Boland does to make that happen. It's not an easy job that he has to go tell a parent, you got to get your kid to school or there's a consequence. But we appreciate him doing that. So again, you have the needs assessment in front of you, and we'll talk more about that next month. I did want to share one more piece of information with you. Saturday, 2 days from now, we will start the process of developing and launching, or maybe I should say relaunching, an education foundation to support the district. It is not an inside the district project. It is an outside of the district project. In 1987, I believe, a foundation was developed, and by 1988, it was gone. We don't want that to happen this time, and we are excited about the opportunity to start an education foundation that can support our students and our teachers in areas that we can't. This is not going to be designed to take care of things that we are supposed to take care of. This is going to be a reach beyond. So I look forward to being able to share new information with you about that as well. So
Thanks, sir.
appreciate you giving us all this time today.
Yes, it's been awesome. Item 3 is reports. All our board members have access to the treasurer's report and bills is presented, I believe.
They are there, yes, sir.
Which brings us to item 4, the consent agenda, and if no board member wants to pull anything out, I'll adopt a motion to approve the consent agenda as it is printed.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, let me know by lifting hand. Thank you very much. Which brings us to item 4, action agenda.
So I'm going to ask you to table item A. We've had a question come up that we're going to try to pursue an answer on. So rather than approve a calendar and then come back and change it, I'm just going to ask you to hold that. I believe we'll be able to come back in December with this for the 26-27 calendar. So we need a motion in order to table that, but if you would do that, I would appreciate it.
Okay, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation to have a motion to table item A.
So move.
Okay, you've heard the motion to have a second.
I second the motion.
We have a second. All in favor, let me know by lifting hand. Then item A is tabled. Item B is to approve bid for fence installation at the high school and for the farm.
So you have a document there that shows the individuals who presented a bid for this. While the project at the high school has been underway, the farm could not operate. And part of the reason the farm couldn't operate is because it was being used as storage for dirt and things of that nature. But there was also a loss of fencing. So the fencing has to be reinstalled, and it's part of the project. It's separate from the project in that it's not going through the architect, but it's funded by the project as is. So we received 4 bids. The bottom 2 bids were eliminated pretty quickly because of their cost. The other 2 bids were reviewed. The recommendation made to me by Brad Avey is the one that I'll make to you tonight because I trust Brad on this. I'm happy to try to answer questions around that if you need me to do that. But it would be my recommendation that we would approve Day Farm and Fencing for the fence installation at GCHS.
Any particular one?
Day Farming.
Oh.
Yes, sir. It's the top one.
Oh, the top one, okay. I was looking at the cheaper one.
And that's why I said, if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer it. And so I'll address that. The belief was in the investigation that was done that there was more evidence of handling larger projects similar to what's being asked for here by that group. It's also within our bidding process, we can give priority to individuals who are within our community, and this is within our community. So when you look at the rating that would come out from that, that was the recommendation. That's why we've chosen to make that
I
recommendation.
appreciate it.
You can go any direction that you want, but that would be my
But you're
recommendation.
recommending Dave's farm,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
You've heard the recommendation, do I have a motion?
I make the motion, but I have a question.
The motion for which one?
It says no, I'm assuming that means no certificate of insurance. Can you speak to that?
Yes, the RFP allows them to produce that within the first week of receiving the bid. So should they not produce it, then they would not be eligible for the bid.
I'll second that motion.
Also, you make the motion for Dave's, but she had a question, and you say, all right, we've had a motion in a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. The item B then is approved, which brings us to item 6.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Smith made the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hurt second. Is all in favor, let me know by lifted hand. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.